Hi everyone, it's Robert again, and I will be demonstrating my Phase 2 project for the winter 2015 ASP.NET development class I am taking at Renton Technical College. So here are the requirements for the assignment. I will be demonstrating each part of the rubric and highlighting and demoing each part. Today I would demonstrate the use of ASP controls and attaching some validation controls to verify user input. I will also demonstrate the use of application and session objects, as well as cookies to hold, store, and pass data between pages. In addition, I will show the use of master pages and code behind to keep one look and feel among all pages. And finally, the use of middle-tier class to perform some database functions. And if time, we will demonstrate the use of data source controls and to pull back data from the database for extra credit. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I will be using Visual Studio 2013 and Internet Explorer 11 to demonstrate my demo my work. So here today I've created a website under my ComSci website and the child folder for Phase 2. And here are the pages that I created, including some files, as well as we'll be using middle-tier class today and a global ASA file. So let's go ahead and kick off the website. Let's go to the login page and browse it to the web page. And here we are presented with the login page, navigation, and some information. We'll call this a info bar. We have some ASP controls here, as well as validation controls attached to them. So let's just go ahead and add some data and passwords and see how the validation is kicking in when the password is not correct. We'll just take some of these data out, and now the validation is asking for a password required. Same way with this, and if we take that out, it's verifying the user inputs. Usually this is the first step in trying to validate users in order to prevent them from entering bad data versus good data. So let's go ahead and add some user. Also, if you notice, I have active users down here. I'm using session or application objects for active users and page visits, and session objects when they first get into here. Because I'm also using cookies as well, and this is kind of like the welcome screen. If it's a new user or a user that has never been to the site, this is what the default welcome screen will say before we generate a cookie. So let's go ahead and log in as a guest. So once we were logged in, we went ahead and wrote a cookie to the local machine, and the active user is now 2, where it was 2 when we first entered the website. So here's the global ASAX file. I am using these application objects, active users, for how many people hit the browse to the website, and then page visits, which will keep track of the total count of all users over time. As well as going to use session objects to grab the user login information and store it in the session object. And here I'm doing something a little bit different. For the active users, we'll kind of use it as a hit count, but that is what I see as for active sessions only. So user maybe open up a web page and they don't use to it, or it times out, then the action will decrement. So this count is not really accurate for the page visit counts. I'm doing something else for that one. So if the active user goes away, we want to try to decrement it, or I guess a garbage collector would take away when they doesn't see it after time. For page visits, well, I'm doing something different here. I'm connected to the SQL database here, and I'm actually, every time a user hits the website, I'm going to take insert a counter and the date that they entered the website here, and we could use that for like auditing purposes or tracking users and stuff like that. You can use it for other things like server information, IP addresses and stuff like that, but we'll just keep it to the basic. Once I get that into the database, I can also pull it out excuse me, pull it out from the database as well. And why am I doing this? It's because if we're using the session object and our application objects, if the server ever goes down, then our count starts at 0 again, so it's never a true count. So if I store this count into the database, and when the server starts again, it will always have its correct information in there, and it'll just pick up where it left off. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm inserting some data into it, and then I'm pulling it back out for getting the total page visits of everyone who's hit the web page. And the data I'm storing is in this website here. And as you can see, right now I'm at 33 total hits right now. So if I went ahead and close this down, open it back up, and I should be at 34 now. So that automatically incremented the count to 34 now. So that total count is in the database, and my session count is now incremented by 1 equal to 3. I also mentioned I was using session objects to store user ID and cookies. So when the original first time when I logged in, we had, remember, it said login placed, but since I logged in already, now it's reading from my cookie, and it knows that I've been to this website before as a guest, and it's reading from the cookie as well as the session. So with that session object, I'll show you something I did with that. We can manipulate what the user wants to see, what the user can and can't see. So earlier I logged in as a guest, and if you notice, here's the logout button, and there's no button over here. But let's say if I log in as an admin this time, oops. Now I have, because I stored I'm giving permissions for the admin, I'm able to see this admin button now, and before I wasn't able to. Let's take a look at that code real quick. So if we scroll down to here, and here's the code that I'm testing against the session object to see who the user is, and if it's admin, I'm letting them be able to view that tab now here, and that's how that's done. I'm also using this intrinsic ASP logout buttons to log me out, session ban, and it redirects to the user login page again. From the login, what I was going to show you was, here we are using those cookie objects and user sessions to declare into our variables there. So while we're here, let's just I added in reset cookies just to see. So it went ahead and deleted our cookie, but and then when we try to refresh this page, it'll push back to the default page when our cookies are cleared out now. Okay, so back hello admin. So I think that's good about for now for session and objects. So today we are using master pages today. We just kind of briefly looked at it here, and what we're doing is adding content controls to only the sections that we want to have the user only edit, and everything else would be the same look and feel for every other pages. And by using this master page, we're able to do that versus having multiple pages and trying to edit one page and making the same edits to all other pages. You just do it to one master page, and those changes get reflected only once and viewed throughout all the other pages. So that's how we're able to do that. So this is the master page, and every content page will be, when we create it, we inherit from the master page file here. and we just add in to our content placeholders wherever we had it from in our master page, and we just add the content there. So every time I navigate to a page, it has the same look and feel. Okay, and let's see. So the only additional thing that I had to do on every single page was in the code behind for the post spec is I added in a test to see if the user has logged into the site yet. If not, then they get kicked back to the login page to log in correctly. And I've done that to every single page so that we can validate the users. Same thing there again. We also, for the label, here we used the, I believe, where was it? It's master type virtual path, so that way we're exposing the property in order to edit this field here. As you can see, master page tile property, we're able to manipulate that, and here was that button click where we call to the middle tier to validate the user, the cookies we wrote to it. Let's go take a look at that real quick. And yep, here's our middle tier where we make a connection to the database, passing in some parameters, and making sure that the user exists. If not, we make them log in again. So let's go ahead and look at some additional pages. This one I am using data grid control, and here I'm able to page through the database, and this was cool because it was easy to create. And let's take a look at that. Let's see, projects page, and see here's the data grid there, and it's already making a connection to the SQL data source by itself, and all we had to do was just drag and drop the control over to our content placeholder page, and then from there we just use this smart tag and just started editing what kind of data we wanted from the data source. So cool thing there. And let's see, what else did we do? We also did okay. So we also did a stats page, and let's go look at the code for that. And you notice we're using another placeholder content, and we're using, in this one we just have a div there. So let's go look at the code behind for that. And here we are calling to the middle tier class to go grab some information in the database, and we will use exposed properties to return those that data and rewrite back to the inner HTML for this span here. Let's take a look at that real quick. And here's that connection to the database. It's called a store procedure, and then it's going to pass out these get the variables out of these output parameters and expose it in those properties. And I think that's pretty much it. And we just got one more. It was the extra credit. Was the photographers here, and we used a data view where we can page through here. And same thing as this is using a data source control, and we can edit from here the database. So that is really neat stuff to do. Or if we want to delete somebody, we could do that. Let's go to the end. So 14, 13, delete that person. So now we're back at 13, or want to enter new data. Yep, and we got the new data right there. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at the code real quick, and here's that detail view list that we're using, and then we're adding our columns through the smart tag. And once we add the data view, we also add this data source here, so it knows how to connect to the database, and it binds to that details view to be able to do that. So I think that's about it. Thank you for watching.